Greetings, family. This is Brother Ron. We all be news. News free Dixie for the 21st century because knowledge is the currency of the universe. I'm here to give y'all a special report. Want to share some quick thoughts about what happened. Unfortunately, on Friday, February the 9th, 2024, we lost some VIPs from Africa, Nigerian bankers were killed in a helicopter crash on their way allegedly to the Super Bowl this year. And I just want to talk about that. When I heard the news about that, this is not a game. Or people say, "Are you ready for some football?" I say, every day is a day of Game 7. Like, life is the ultimate sport because every day could be your last. So every day is a Game 7. Sometimes you don't make it home. One day gonna be that day. But my thing is this: I want to talk about this why this was fresh on my mind. Um, it's interesting that you get this Nigerian bank president, one of the most important banks in Nigeria, one of the most important leaders in African currency market, taken out on his way to the football game along with his wife and son. I believe he had 4 children, along with a business partner who was also the former head of the Nigerian stock market or stock exchange, along with the pilots. Like, everybody on board died. 6 people. Helicopter crash in I think Mojave Desert on their way to Nevada. You know, coming from California. And you start to think about this stuff. Like, Taylor Swift was in Japan, right? She was in Japan, did her thing. She's on tour, on a world tour. Did her thing, rushed back to Vegas from Japan. She was able to get to Vegas, Las Vegas, Nevada, halfway, whatever, across the planet with no problem. Yet a guy and his people could not get to Las Vegas from California, which is right next door to Nevada. They get died or unalive, as y'all say, in a I say a helicopter crash. If I meant to say helicopter crash. I think I said helicopter crash. Okay. But the point I'm trying to make is you had a billionaire woman, a billionaire that was able to safely make it to one of the biggest games on the planet, one of the biggest spectacles in the world, one of the biggest bread and circuses psyops going. But yet, this other guy and his family couldn't make it. It reminded me of Kobe Bryant, what happened to Kobe Bryant on January 26, 2020. It was hard to swallow and believe, but as you all remember, that horrible day, Kobe Bryant perished along with his beautiful daughter and 7 other souls on a helicopter crash in Calabasas, California, in Orange County. California, one of the wealthiest counties in the country. He perished. So it's kind of like almost identical where you had 9 people on their helicopter crash. They attributed to pilot's error as usual. But this other crash, 6 people perished, nobody survived as well. That happened on February 9th on the way to the Super Bowl, whereas Kobe was killed on the same day as the Grammys, which were held at Staples Center, his old stomping grounds as a L.A. Laker. They recently dedicated a statue, a likeness of Kobe Bryant, that will be on display at the Staples Center, along with the other statues of Lakers great in past, like I think Kareem, Jerry West, Shaquille O'Neal, so many other Laker greats. I believe they got a Wilt Chamberlain statue out there as well. So that's interesting, the time and everything, because as you can recall, the night before Kobe was killed, LeBron James surpassed or passed Kobe on the all-time NBA scoring leaders list. He won up Kobe, and he did it in Kobe's hometown of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Then the next thing you know, he's dead. And LeBron was a Laker, or is a Laker currently, and that's also the year that the Lakers won the NBA championship, the NBA so-called NBA World Championship. So I don't believe in coincidence. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm a conspiracy realist. And blood sacrifices, whatever y'all may think about the term blood sacrifices or Illuminati, That stuff is real. Secret societies do exist. The best way they do it is out in the open. But my thing is, like you think about wars. Wars are some of the biggest blood sacrifices on the planet, where you giving up people in order to obtain a goal or objective by any means necessary. So what was the objective gain with the helicopter crash? Because even with Kobe, you compare it to Kobe and Herbert Wigwe, along with his people perishing. What was the benefit? Who gains to benefit from the disposal of these people? Because they're both similar in me. For example, Kobe died on the plane on a helicopter crash, in the helicopter crash, excuse me, with his daughter. He had other daughters, right? But this one was going to be the legacy bearer for his basketball legacy. I believe she already had a scholarship with UConn. It was real close to the UConn program. Kobe was real close to the coach of the UConn program, University of Connecticut basketball ladies program, along with like some of the former players of that program. I think Diane Taurasi. I don't know how. I think this is how you pronounce her name. I know what I'm talking about. So don't hit me too hard, when you hear this, because I'm not perfect. I'm perfect in my imperfections, but God can only use imperfection for greatness. God knows how to really utilize that for greatness. So where you see that you may be broken, you are actually whole in the spirit. You actually made whole in the spirit. That's how God works. You see how it works. But she had I guess already guaranteed full ride to UConn, and she would have been his basketball successor. And she perished along with Kobe, because they don't only kill you, they kill your legacies. Look at the Kennedys. They still disposing of Kennedys to this day. All right. I'm talking about JFK, John F. Kennedy, the president. Look what happened to his son, who died in the plane crash. There was an accident, pilot's error, blame John, whatever they call him on that. I don't believe in accidents. And like my late great Jagna Emerson Abel Jr. used to say, nobody dies a natural death in show business. But getting back, what benefit the removal of Kobe? Well, there's a couple things was going on with Kobe, right? If you do your research, you all would know that he was due in court, I believe that Monday or sometime that week, of January 26th, to challenge a pharmaceutical company for the trademark, naming rights, trademark infringement, because allegedly they wanted to debut a pharmaceutical product under the banner of Black Mamba. And all the sports fans, fanatic, Laker land, Laker Nation, y'all know that Kobe been calling himself Black Mamba since the mid 2000s, right? So you got this pharmaceutical company, they want the naming rights, or they were challenging Kobe for the naming rights to the Black Mamba name. So he was doing court for that, and people said that he was also looking at starting a basketball league somewhere in the Asian diaspora. Because I think Kobe has a large following among Asians. I guess in China and other places, Japan. We got Kobe beef. Kobe, the name of a very popular meat product from Japan. I believe you can correct me. I'm not going to look it up right now. So Kobe had a lot of things going on. So yeah, you're taking on this big pharmaceutical giant. People alluded to maybe allegedly he had information about the ethics or lack thereof of this said pharmaceutical company that he was challenging for the trademark ownership rights, naming rights to the Black Mamba name. Also, Kobe had a venture capitalist firm that he was a part of. I believe one of his business partners actually did business with Jeffrey Epstein on a different with a different organization. So I mean, Kobe had you don't know what happened to Kobe. We don't really know. I just know that he was eliminated, and they called it an accident. They never, when these so-called air vehicle accidents happen, it's never conclusive what really happened. There's never, there's the official story, but I always tell people the official narrative is the official lie. The official story or narrative is the official lie and cover up. And you get to the Nigerian guy. This guy was in the banking industry. He was control of policy, or he had access to policy that affect the currency of the motherland. So it's not hard to tell that, you follow the money, as they say. When you want to figure out what's really going on or what happened or is happening, follow the paper trail, follow the money. So this guy who had access to currency, to the money, a charge of a very powerful banking institution in Nigeria, connected, I think, to central banking. And we all know, if y'all don't know, if you don't know, look up the Rothschilds, banking dynasty family from Germany. Uh, this stuff is nothing new. It's no reinvention of the playbook. Same playbook, different characters. Same playbook, different day, but it's all in the same game, like Miss Chalet would say, or would have said back in the day. All in the same game. So I think about the currency situation. There's been a lot of banking people that have been what they call it, unalive, made it look like it was their fault, and taking themselves out the equation. So yeah, a lot of bankers over the years have been taken out of here. Just like a lot of natural health doctors, holistic doctors, have been taken out of here over the last several years. Think about what happened. I believe was it last year. Everything's going by so fast, but the founder of Cash App, he was taken out of here in San Fran, and they told us a story of what may have happened to him. But there's always a bigger story at play, because now with the cryptocurrency and stuff like that, that the government and other institutions, traditional institutions, are getting involved in the next evolution of currency, which is crypto. Y'all talking about Bitcoin, all this stuff. So was Cash App dude in a way some bigger grand scheme? Probably was. But the thing about it is, we're too preoccupied with bread and circuses to really know what's going on in reality. We all caught up in the matrix of the bread and circus game. Caesar said many years ago, many, I guess thousands of years ago, that you give the people bread and circuses, they won't ask questions, they won't complain, they be too distracted in self-indulgence to really pay attention that Rome is burning, right? Rome is burning. We are last days of the empire. We are basically in World War III, and we have no idea we're in World War III, because if they had announced it at the Super Bowl that we was in World War III, that would have helped. But the Super Bowl is not meant to inform. It's meant to distract and deflect. It's a bread and circus gimmick, and it's all the fix is in. It's rigged. And I'm telling you, it's interesting that Travis Kelce, which I enjoy. I enjoy football. I watched it with my uncle yesterday. I enjoy it, but I know what it is. It's entertainment. It's not real competitive. You think about it, it's scripted. Because Travis Kelce, the way he carries himself, is like a WWE wrestler. It's like he's a wrestler. The way, he's got that presence like The Rock. He got charisma like The Rock, Stone Cold, Steve Austin. Hulk Hogan, he got some great mic skills, or Ric Flair. You got the right to part. You got the fight for the rights to party. It's like him and Rob Gronkowski, who happen to be another great tight end. Now they're in the conversations for who's the greatest tight end of all time. And between those two, I think Travis is gonna have the edge once he retires, because he got some amazing. But getting back, I don't want to but getting back to the point. They could have used that, because, like, from my understanding, there was some shenanigans going on in the so-called Middle East that was happening around the same time of the Super Bowl. And y'all can look all that up. Take a look. It's all online. I just want to make this quick to the point. But being control of the currency, right? It meant a lot of power, and say he might have told the wrong people no. And like Kobe, they killed his legacies, right? They killed his beautiful wife. They killed his son. I believe he has 3 other children. Herbert Wigwe. He got 3 other children, but his son was killed along with his wife and himself, and his business partner, former head of Nigerian Security Exchange, was also killed along with the pilots. And they probably gonna rule this pilot's error, perhaps. But I don't believe in accidents when it comes to aviation tragedies. I just don't believe them. I don't believe the official story. But they might rule it. But think about what they did to the Gaddafi, Omar Gaddafi, former president of Libya. Omar Gaddafi made a deal with the devil And you can't never trust the devil to honor their deal. You should always trust the devil to not honor the deal, or it'd be the devil in the details. It's the loophole they provide themselves to not be wanting or willing to honor said deal. But Gaddafi had the audacity to try to control African currency, to put African currency back on gold standard. And you see what happened to Gaddafi. You know, the Libyans had a quality of life. There was the envy of a lot of places even in the Western world. They was living. I don't believe they had any homeless people in Libya when Gaddafi. And y'all can correct me. I'm not gonna look all this up. I'm a thought provocateur. I'm here to provoke thought. So the quality of living was pretty high in Libya. I think people may have even had guaranteed income because they had oil, they had a lot of resources at their disposal. And as soon as Gaddafi said, I want to unite Mother Africa through our own currency, he had to go. Soon as Dr. King talked about the redistribution of wealth, he had to go. Abraham Lincoln had to go. When Andrew Jackson challenged the banksters, they tried to assassinate him in the White House. He won that round, but they ended up winning the war. He won a battle. The president, Andrew Jackson, the guy on the $20 bill, like y'all hate, but that's one good thing about him. He took on the banksters. And he fought a good, valiant fight. But the thing about it is, they end up getting another guy, another Democrat. I believe Andrew Jackson was the first Democrat elected to office in the United States as president, if I'm not mistaken. Y'all can look it up. Or maybe I am mistaken. I don't know. But he actually gave all white men the right to vote. He gave them the vote. No, not just white men who own property, but also everyday white people or everyday so-called white men. But you look at they finally got the Federal Reserve and all this stuff. The IRS started under President Woodrow Wilson, who was a Democrat and a Klan supporter. His college classmate Thomas Dixon wrote a book called The Klansman, which was the basis for the movie The Birth of the Nation, directed and created by D.W. Griffith. Birth of the Nation is a cinematic masterpiece, but also it's one of the worst piece of propaganda as it pertains to race relations and the depiction of black folk. But getting back to that, follow the money, right? Who benefits from the removal of Herbert Wigwe? Nigeria is interesting. It's an economic powerhouse in its own right. There's a lot of billionaires in Nigeria based on their oil wealth. There's a lot of billionaires in Nigeria. Nigeria is not a poor place. And this guy had one of the most powerful banking institutions in that country and in Mother Africa. So he must have told the wrong people no, or he said no to an offer he shouldn't have never have refused. So with that said, I see the similarities. I go back, Otis Redding. They don't really know how his plane went down back in December of 1967. There's no official really, like we know, but I know Otis had the audacity to talk about allegedly, along with James Brown. According to James Brown's son, Otis Redding and James Brown were going to become business partners in controlling the distribution of black soul music. And that really put the nail in the coffin for Otis Redding, because Otis Redding was a very shrewd and brilliant businessman. He died at 26, but he owned his publishing. He had his own publishing. He wrote the song Sitting on the Dock of the Bay, as well as Respect, the one y'all love, recorded. That was like the anthem or theme for Aretha Franklin. That was actually written and recorded first by Otis Redding. So Otis Redding was a very profound, not only a very profound artist, but also astute business person and a visionary. And they had to get him out of here. So he got killed in the plane crash, right? Labor leader Walter Reuther was killed with his wife in a plane crash, I believe back in 1970, like almost 2 years after King. He was a close ally of Dr. King and supporter of the civil rights movement, the American civil rights movement. Walter Reuther made a lot of enemies in the labor movement. They tried to kill him back in the 40s, I believe. He lost use, I think, of his right arm. I mean, he had a lot of bones broken up. A sniper tried to kill him, I believe, back in the 40s, or it was a bomb or something like that. He had a lot of death attempts on his life. Being said, when he died, I believe in that plane crash, I believe it was May of 1970. Let's look it up. Look at Walter Reuther, right? They said it was an accident, but it was important parts of the plane that were not in the plane that was missing. Let me say that again. From my understanding, it was like pieces of the plane that supposed to be in the plane when it was taking off and flying were not in the plane, or they were put in the wrong place. So is that an accident, folks? Come on. Yeah, people disappear on planes, like the band leader in World War II, soldier Glenn Miller. He disappeared crossing the English Channel, I believe, back in '44 during World War II on a plane. You have a lot of things that happen on planes and helicopters. I think about Mickey Leland, a very interesting, eccentric, Afrocentric, unapologetically black man from Texas who was at one point over the Congressional Black Caucus in Congress, who wanted to end world poverty, who had a relationship with the motherland, with Africa, and who died in a questionable plane crash on the side of a mountain. I believe back in '89, I'm not mistaken, Mickey Leland. Look at Mickey Leland, because Sheila Jackson Lee ended up taking his seat. So they always replace these people, like these visionary people, with somebody that, I hate to say the word control, but it's controlled by certain interests. So Mickey Leland was taken out of here while his wife was pregnant with twins. And they probably could have saved his life, but they took days to get to where he was at. And it's probably by design, because I think they could have saved a lot of people's lives if they got there quicker, but they took their time for whatever reason, because Mickey Leland was serious about helping poor people and black people, not only just in America, but also throughout the world. He wanted to end world poverty, and he paid the price with his life. And a lot of us don't know who Mickey Leland is, which is unfortunate. I didn't know who this Nigerian bank executive was, Herbert Wigwe, until he was dead. It was like, in the words of the Notorious B.I.G., you're nobody till somebody kills you. So you nobody till somebody kills you. So, I mean, but let his death not be in vain. I can also recall the UN Secretary General back in the early 60s, on September 18th, 1961, UN General Secretary, his plane went down in the Congo. They said there was an accident. No, there was not an accident. There was an assassination. Look up the UN Secretary General whose plane went down in the Congo back on September 18th, 1961. This is Patrice Lumumba Congo. The same people that got rid of Patrice Lumumba, or the same forces and entities that got rid of Patrice Lumumba, also got rid of the UN Secretary General, who was from Sweden. And I believe he was the youngest appointed UN Secretary General in history. And fam, let me further clarify that the UN Secretary General that I was referring to was the one that only Dag Hammarskjöld. He became the youngest UN Secretary General appointed in history at the tender age of 47 back in 1953, excuse me. He was 47 in 1953 when he became UN Secretary General. Also, let me clarify with the late, great Mickey Leland as well. He was not directly replaced by Sheila Jackson Lee. He was actually, his seat was given in a special election to Craig Anthony Washington, who was a colleague of his in the Texas state legislature. So Craig Anthony Washington, who was an attorney, actually replaced Mickey Leland in his seat. Now, he lost the seat to Sheila Jackson Lee back in the mid-90s. He did a lot of interesting things. I guess it caused him to lose the seat because she beat him really handily, from my understanding, in the Democratic primary. Like, he voted against, I guess, funding for the International Space Station, which would have benefited his district immensely. Like I said, they're down in Texas, in Houston. So they know NASA is in Houston, Texas. So I guess he bit the hand that fed him, for whatever reasons, maybe in the spirit of Mickey Leland, who wanted to end world poverty. Also, let me further clarify. I don't know if I mispronounced or pronounced the brother name correctly. The Nigerian bank executive, Herbert Wigwe. Remember I said Wigwe or Wigwe, but don't get on me. Don't come for me, because I just learned how to say Kamala Harris when y'all kept on calling her Kamala and Kamala. She pronounces Kamala. But it's like Franklin Roosevelt, man. It's either here or there. Just my opinion. I want to share with the people. Information is power, and knowledge is still the currency of the universe. This is Brother Ron, and this is We All Be News Free Dixie for the 21st century. And let the show continue. I'm not mistaken. Look him up. I don't want to pronounce his name. I don't really know how to pronounce his name, but it started with an H, right? But he got killed September 18, 1961, try to mediate peace, conflict resolution in the Congo. And the Congo been under conflict since the late 19th century, thanks to King Leopold, who killed more people than Adolf Hitler, maybe 3 times over. Stuff he was doing in the Congo for blood, diamonds, and resources. You know, a lot of things that we take for granted in so-called Western civilization in terms of our technology come from the Congo, and the Congo has been in conflict for a long time because the powers that be don't want the locals to control their own destiny by controlling their resources. But that's another story for another day. But I just want to put this out here. You know, it remind me echoes of Kobe Bryant, because even Kobe Bryant, I remember after he passed, people kept on posting on social media this clip from a cartoon that used to come on Comedy Central that actually showed Kobe Bryant crashing in a helicopter and showing him getting killed in the helicopter because, like, you know, he was holding on to his 5 championships, whatever, trophies, or whatever, something like that, rings, and he didn't want to, you know, pass the ball, whatever. You know, like Kobe, he was a notorious ball hog. I think he missed more shots than anybody in NBA history, but still an all-time great. He took a high volume of shots, but he still was a phenomenal player. But they try to, I guess, make fun of his ball hog, you know, reputation, and he got killed in the plane. And they kept on taking that clip down on different social media platforms. But that's called predictive programming, because that came out just several years before all this happened with Kobe Bryant. Just like the Simpsons, they could predict the future, right? Donald Trump was going to be president, Prince was going to die that way. How do they know all this? Because it's predictive programming. A lot of the money that Hollywood gets is from the Department of Defense or the Defense Intelligence Agency and from the CIA. The CIA controls a lot of the news, media, information agencies, print media, TV, whatever, cable. A lot of people are agents for the state. Look up the term Operation Mockingbird. Operation Mockingbird talks about how the CIA co-opted the news infrastructure of this country to control the propaganda, to control the narrative. You know, this is just fascinating. I mean, I think I'm gonna wrap this up right now, but I just want to talk about it. And also, speaking about Herbert Wigwe, you know, they was going to the Super Bowl, right? You know, Kansas City Chiefs was playing the San Francisco 49ers. I don't know if he was a fan of either team or he was just a fan of the sport, but I do know this: as soon as I thought about him, I thought about Christian Okoye. You know, Christian Okoye is a Nigerian American former football player who was a star running back for the Kansas City Chiefs for at least about 5 or 6 years. He had a very short NFL career due to injuries, but he was like a freak of nature on that football field. And he didn't start playing football until he was 23 years old. And then by the time he was 28 years old, he led the NFL in rushing. 2-time Pro Bowler. And I think he scored like 40 touchdowns in a matter of 5 seasons, which is, you know, and ran almost 5,000 yards with injuries included. Had the potential to become a NFL Hall of Famer if he could have lasted. But I just thought that was interesting because his nickname was or is the Nigerian Nightmare. That's Christian Okoye, running back for the Kansas City Chiefs, late 80s, early 90s. Nickname was the Nigerian Nightmare. And he was one of my favorite players back in the day. So I didn't want to put that out there. If you like the words from Brother Herb, please spread the word. Support the movement, because information, or knowledge rather, is the currency of the universe. And information, even in 2024, is still power. But I want to give you all this to empower you to think for yourselves, because I can't stop thinking. And like what Baba Dick Gregory told me, When the universal God chooses to put those magic glasses on you, you can never take them off. You can't make anybody see what you see. So I have made my peace with that, and I must keep on speaking my truth to empower you all to seek the truth for yourselves. Just don't take my word for it. Take a look. It's all online and in your mind, okay? Because your imagination is more powerful than knowledge. But the games, they have begun, and both the best and the worst is yet to come. So people get ready. 2024 is going to be like no other. And I will do my part to feed the people, because Baba Dick Gregory said, I'm the feeder. I'm going to feed you, and feed you until you can't eat no more. Don't stop till you get enough. And then keep on going. All right, take care. God bless. Keep on producing and pushing. And in the words of the great Duke Ellington, we love you madly. And please remember, support We All Be by any means. Information provided on your screen and after this commentary. One love, man. And also, family, let me further add that there was another prominent person on the plane with U.S. Congressman Mickey Leland, who perished in that plane crash August 7th, 1989. There was Maria Thomas, famous author, also known as Roberta Ward by her married name, but her pen name was Maria Thomas, prolific author and essayist, novelist, writer. She was a writer, along with her husband who worked with U.S. Aid. She was also on that trip as a translator. So she perished with Mickey Leland, and that was August 7, 89. And their bodies were recovered August 14th of 89. How convenient. Very interesting. There you go, folks. See how it works.